Welcome back to another hour of Scotch Hour. I'm Noah.
And I'm Jesse.
All right, this is episode 234, and tonight we have the Octomore 14.3. Then our shout-outs and get-it-togethers, followed by a restaurant review, Bruges Wines and Bourbon Bistro. And then our Smarter Challenge being Wednesday, Season 2. Looking forward to that conversation. And real quickly, thank you to all the viewers on YouTube and Rumble and the many and the listeners on the many different podcast platforms. We greatly appreciate all of you. If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments down below. We'd love to hear from you.
Scotch Review.
Super excited for this 14.3 Octomore. The Bruichladdich Distillery has given us quite a potential treat with this one. As with the other Octomores, this one is aged 5 years, half of that, 50% in first fill, bourbon whiskey casks, and 50% in second fill French oak wine casks. Now, this is not for the faint of heart or weak of mouth. It is bottled at 61.4 ABV and 214.2 parts per million. A little bit about the extra in here. The mash bill is 100% Islay single malt barley, variety being the Concerto from the Octomore farm. So yes, they farmed it in 2016. That's when they harvested the barley, and they distilled it in 2017. Last year, couple years ago, they finally decided to finish it, bottle it, and here we go. I'm going to be very excited for this. The Bruichladdich Distillery is still owned by the Bruichladdich Distillery Company. It was founded in 1861. It is located in the Rins of the Isle of Islay. They're off the coast of Scotland. It does have 2 wash stills, 2 spirit stills. The wash stills, 12,000 liters. The spirit stills, 11,000 liters. Now that's each. They do also have one Le Monde adjustable for an annual capacity with the combination of all of those of 1.5 million liters per year. We've talked about this in some of our other shows. We go into a lot of detail there, but they did have to mothball the distillery from 1907 through 1918, again in 1929 through 1935, and 41 through 45, then one last time in 94 to the year 2000. We've heard this from some other distilleries, but they are known for their uniquely tall and narrow neck stills. They chose these with the intention of producing a very pure and original spirit. The opposite of the styles produced by the older farm distilleries that are around there. And that's one key point, is don't forget this, like some of the others we've had recently, is a farm distillery. So not all of the Bruichladdich are 100% Bruichladdich farm barley. But this particular version of the Octomore, the 14.3 is. Any good tours this time of year?
Going back to episode 230, we did talk about the tours there. They have 2 tours. They got the basic tour, which is 90 minutes long. It's 25 Great British Pounds. It's just a tour of their distillery. And you get to see their Victorian distillery is what they say. It's a guy, and then you get a guided tasting afterwards. Then they have the Bruichladdich one, where it's 75 Great British Pounds, and it's 2.5 hours long. And here you get the behind the scenes tour of the distillery, and you also get the tour of the Warehouse 6.
All right. That sounds like a lot of fun, especially seeing some of their equipment. They are still using some of their original Victorian equipment, including their open 7-ton mash tun, the only one on the island and one of only a handful still in existence. There are 6 wooden washbacks made from a Douglas fir or Oregon pine. Together 210 liters here. Potential for all of that use. They do have a pretty exciting line. These super heavily peated scotches, again, the Bruichladdich designation, those will be their unpeated. So like the classic laddie, but once you get to the Octomore, super heavily peated. Well, without further ado, we're going to tear right into this because I'm excited and I don't have to get up early tomorrow morning. All right, as they continue to do, wonderful canister, and with their .2 and .3 designations, sometimes they differentiate from that dark black bottle. A great canister, still line it with the corrugated cardboard inside. Even though this one is not a solid black, this to me is still a very attractive bottle. They do a wonderful job with their stiff foil and serrations as we rip this one off and look forward to seeing the topper and the rest.
You always want good protection.
Yeah, man, but I will say the serrations on this are not making it the easiest to tear. Could have done a little bit better job. That side, much better than the first side. Foil's kind of so-so. It is a solid wood topper. Thank you, Bruichladdich. And it is also a solid cork. And this is not what I was expecting from a peated Scotch single malt at 214 million parts per million. Oh, wow. I think you're going to want a little bit more. This is far sweeter.
Well, you think I am, man.
This is far sweeter than I was expecting. But you still get, or I still get, that peat and, oh, man, it's almost like, there's so much. The brown sugar cereal. I'm super excited. If ever there was a Scotch to turn a person on, this could be it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, sorry, I just jumped right in there. I forgot my lines there. Time for our tasting notes and more speed. Cheers. The Bruichladdich Octomore 14.3 does not disappoint, and it delivers the goods. First off, I'm not the huge fan of the color, but I love the packaging, so I'm still giving it a 5 out of 5. I don't know, like I would prefer like the actual canister to be like a different color than that kind of like neutral color that they have there going on. I'm not sure I would call that like maybe I would say like it's like a khaki maybe or an olive olive green
metallic khaki. Yeah, I think you're right.
Like I'm not really sure what color it is. I just wish they would have made it more sexy in the color there. But
it's almost like a fucking army like vehicle paint color.
Yeah. But I love the bottle itself. It's like that frosted glass or whatever. That I really dig, and I think it looks awesome. So I still give it a 5 out of 5 on the presentation. The color, I deemed it as Enid's Werewolf Moonlit Gold. So if you just imagine like being in the dark world of Wednesday Addams, and you get some gold being shined on the moonlight, there you go. But you can't, I mean, it's not dark, so, you know, you got to go with Enid, who's a little bit more bright. So that's why I said Enid's Werewolf Moonlight Gold. But still, I love the color. It's a great color. As far I gave both those 5 out of 5, by the way. The nose, I have, it's a mesh of cigar ash with iodine, notes of brine, peach, vanilla, and a touch of pepper. And I said oak, but I think you are probably more correct. It's probably cedar rather than oak, but you definitely get like that nice wood note in there as well. I really love the nose. It danced very politely and nicely in that is it orful? I'm gonna screw up that word. I'm not even gonna try to attempt it. It begins with like an O. I know that. I'm pretty sure.
Like olfactory?
Yeah. Maybe that's it. But anyways, it's a delight to the nose. I gave it 29 out of 30. The body was, I said here for the body was that it was a full body that gives the mouth a nice oily film with upfront sweetness of toffee and salted or sea salt caramel. And then the mid palate introduces the black pepper spice. The palate I enjoyed, but when that spice kicks in, it kicks in a lot. Hopefully it maybe mellows down after it stays open for a little while or it's exposed to oxygen. But currently I gave it 28 points. The finish, it starts off spicy, which comes over from that palate. And once it miles out, it does mile out to a sea salt dark chocolate with a semi-sweet finish that leaves a bright, clean mouthfeel. And I'm not really sure what causes that clean mouthfeel. I would love to say that it's like a mint or spearmint or peppermint or something like that, or maybe even a cinnamon. But I can't get any of those flavors. I just know like my mouth feels like clean, like after like having one of those type of minty type of things. But I loved it. I gave that 28 out of 30 as well. My grand total is 95 points. Is it black tie worthy? Yes. Game night worthy? No. This is horde worthy. So definitely has a spot on the shelf.
All right. Well, I agree with you. This Scotch has not disappointed. It has been pleasant through and through. And not a surprise because we've had some great experiences with the Bruichladdich Octomore Scotch range. The 14.3, brilliant in flavor and profile. One thing to mention here, their barley origin, which has to play a role here, is from their village and Lorgaba Fields. So part of the Octomore farms, and quite phenomenal presentation right there with you. 5 out of 5. I actually dig the color. I think it's kind of almost incognito, where it's like that man's thing, like the flat black and this almost olive drab khaki combination. Like if there were two guns,
needs to be gunmetal.
If you were going to have two guns and you have one in each shade, this is the other shade I want. This is the Desert Storm shade, right?
Okay, you got a point.
That's I don't think this color is sexy, but it's manly. So 5 out of 5 on the presentation. I also love the frosted bottle. I do like what they did. They stay consistent with the shape, the nice wide mouth, real cork, real wood topper. Thank you, Bruichladdich and the Octomore group. Color. All right. This is and you can see it just by looking at it. I mean, you don't have to ask, you can see it. This is a Siren's Golden Death song. This is the one that brings you into the rocks upon the wake, upon your death. So a Siren's Golden Death song there. It is pleasant to look at. It's a sexy Scotch, and I think that's going to be one of the themes for me this evening, especially as we get to the restaurant and even the show. These are sexy experiences. So color a 5. It is non-chill filtered. Another note to make for me, this nose also a 29. Man, right off the bat, I get butterscotch. So there's some toffee, some honey, some brown sugar, the peat. smoke, brine, vanilla, but it's not up front. It's along the middle. Then some toasted oak. There's the cereal grain, possibly part of that clean finish is there's some light citrus, and it might be lime. There's some hints of some earthy tones too, almost like that fresh rain petrichor that you can taste. Again, nose 29, the high point, phenomenal, well done, Octomore team. The palate, I also gave a 28. Peat smoke, charred oak. A little bit of peppered beef, peppered and salted beef. There's some subtle spice, but that subtle spice is also weighed in with pepper. It is followed up, and it's mellowing out to me, but it's followed up, that pepper and that spice, by some really great earthy cereal grain. And again, a little bit more of the butterscotch, not so sweet at this point, more oaky than not. 28 on the palate. So here's our 1 point difference. I only gave it a 27 on the finish. It's a great finish. It's smooth. It's long. It's clean. It's a little almost buttery, oily mouthfeel. The sea salt, I love. It is present. So is some pepper. The peat flavor is through and through, and I love that. But really, for me, it finishes clean, but with a earthy cereal maltiness that is absolutely delicious. Total for me, 94. Great score. Black tie, absolutely. Game night, depending on the game and who you're playing the game, or who the peoples you're playing the game with, could be, if they're worthy, yes, but otherwise this is with a price right around $300 a bottle. It's something you save for yourself. And a great experience. It's one of those scotches you want with a win or a loss, and there is absolutely space on the shelf.
It's time for our shout-outs.
Well done once again, Broncos. Well done once again, Nuggets. Dude, they're literally kicking ass, and we can only hope it actually turns out well, because everyone has mistakes, but possibly well done once again for the upcoming Brazilian Grand Prix and the Rain Gods. The only get-it-togethers I have are for the people who voted in some of the blue states in this most recent election. Like, do the math, please. Start doing the math. You're done. You're voting for a group that will take away your rights, not give you rights. Like, I don't understand. So that's it. I'm going to leave it alone at that. Next, yours. Shout outs and get it together.
I was going to give a shout out to the Broncos as well. They've some way, somehow continued to manage to win football games in the fourth quarter. So
it was a beautiful fourth quarter again.
Therefore, I decided I would break out a Broncos cap for this.
I love it. It's a good cap.
For this particular show. As far as get it togethers, honestly, I think people who voted for certain candidates really need to do their research and background, as far as like maybe candidates who come from more of a Islamic background, and dive into a little bit deeper about how, and historically, how Islam has worked in other nations. And to really think about, is it a fit with our Constitution? And I don't know, like, you could come up with your own conclusions. I know what my conclusion is. God wills it. This is what I guess.
God wills it.
But anyways, I'll leave it there. Yeah, I guess that's it for this week.
Restaurant Review.
Well, this week's restaurant review, another sweet surprise, much like the Griffin Tavern last week. This week we went to go to a Velvet Lounge that hasn't even been finished yet they're advertising it on Open Table and all over the social media. Total disappointment. Actually, it kind of pisses me off.
Because it wasn't open?
Because not only was it not open, it hadn't been closed to be reopened yet as they were rebranding it. So yeah, not sure how long term I'm going to feel about that shit stain on my memory, but the nice treat was we went to the Rouge Wine and Bourbon Bistro. Now, this is located at 7939 East Arapahoe Road there in Greenwood Village, Colorado. You want to kick it off or you want me to?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, here's the first thing. This is a sexy establishment. I don't love the parking lot. It's got some weird twists and turns. You definitely want to be careful. If there has been anyone else drinking and possibly driving, because otherwise it's a parking lot with lots of curves, and anytime you get that, if you're not really paying attention, somebody else might literally back right up into you. But however, it's still pretty nice out there. For myself, we did not sit outside, but they had a beautiful patio that overlooks the mountains, and during the evening, a sunset. We were right on the verge of it might be too cool in the evening, so we opted inside. But I still thought the exterior, excluding the parking lot, was an 8. I'd love to go there for lunch on a nice weather day or even an early evening. Enjoy a dram, which we'll get to in a minute. But otherwise, it was great. Now, what's absolutely more fantastic is the interior. I loved. The interior was very trendy, very to me jazz club hip, if you will. I gave the interior a 9. A phenomenally stocked and shaped bar in the sense of they have their scotches, they have their Japanese whiskeys, their Irish whiskeys, tons of bourbon for days, lots of choices through and through, and on their menu it's the same, but ultimately interior, to me, the interior was sexy, a 9, and the only thing that would have brought it up, that extra 10th point, is it seemed like there were a few sections that were not quite finished. Like maybe they're still working on a couple of details with the way that the flow is, where they go to get the water and there's buckets underneath within sight, depending on where you're sitting, things like that. But otherwise, the interior is sexy. It was great. The food for me, I had the Rouge Burger. This is topped or bottomed, if you will, because they actually put the cheese on the bottom with some Maytag blue cheese, a bacon, and roasted garlic. The key points here is the bun was delicious, but the burger was perfect. Medium rare was my temperature of choice, and it came out flawlessly. The flavor, I'm not sure if it was the garlic or something else they do, but it tasted like real meat. Don't always get that. Ultimately, for me, also because of the truffle fries with some roasted garlic aioli, 10 for the food. Service, he did a really good job. We sat in the bar area, partially because we were there earlier in the evening, so that's where he was available to serve us. And he had us most of the way until it got a little busy, and then towards the end just having to wait. But ultimately, he did a nice job. He was super friendly. He was considerate. Ultimately, an 8 out of 10 for the service value. Anytime I go into a restaurant and the experience makes me feel this good, I actually feel bad only giving it a 9, but I felt great. I felt valued as a customer, and I thought the food was great quality and great value. If you look at their menu, they have bourbon flights, they have whiskey flights, they have wine flights, and on their basic flights, they may even have more. But some of those flights for the wines start around the $19 price point. Some of those whiskey flights hit the $200 price point with some really rare, or special whiskeys and bourbons. So super exciting. Value a 9 for me overall. That total gives it an 8.8. It's a great score. Not just because of that score. Would I meet a friend there? Any day. Any day. Would I take a date there? Hell yeah. I really want to go back. And then ultimately, is it a destination for me? Right now, unless they screw something up, I will go back. And yes, it's a destination.
You forgot one thing. How did our bill come? Like when they?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
You wanted to talk about it. That's why.
No, you're right. I did. So here's something else that's really sexy about this jazz club. This early century. We're talking prohibition status. The check came in an old cigarette case. And so as we had split our check, each side, 2 sides to a cigarette case, also brilliant. You can literally separate the two. Brilliant in one case, but the check came in the cigarette case, so you had the cigarette bands that would hold the bills on each side, and I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was well played. Again, another sexy piece to, it doesn't matter if you smoke or not to me. I'm not some huge anti-smoker, but I thought there was a great play on a little bit of history and fun. It was fun. It was sexy.
Definitely sexy. All right. For me, the outside, I gave it a 6. Like the patio looked great, and everything you said, I totally agree with. And I think during the summertime, or even if it was just slightly bit warmer, or if I had brought a jacket, it would have been nice to maybe sit outside. Because I think the sunset and like the view that you would get would be pretty great. It's the parking lot which dropped it down to a 6, and it's not just like what you just said, but there's like other patrons that were talking about how goofy the parking lot was.
It's like curvy everywhere.
The inside, to me, the inside reminded me of more like one of those like lounges that you would go to in Miami, or I've been to like a lounge in Miami, or like a lounge I've been to like in Vegas and some other like cities. It just had like that total like lounge feel to it. So not quite, I would not quite go the same route as you saying jazz, but I would say more like I said, more of a lounge that plays kind of like. The music there wasn't. I don't think it was jazz music that we were playing. It was more like the Eurotech type of music. That's why I said more like a lounge feel. And it had like 3 separate. You could almost say 4 separate sections. There was one section like that was right next to this well lit, multicolored wine wall,
which is sweet.
Which is really sweet. Then you had the middle of the restaurant inside, which is the bar section, which also was kind of sweet because like where I sat, it was kind of like a bench, but they also had like these throw pillows or whatever, which made it kind of like weird and cool, which is why also it's like a lounge, like one of those lounge places. Then there's this other section, which I didn't really get a great view of because it was behind me. And maybe this is a section you're talking about that maybe doesn't look like it's quite finished yet.
It wasn't as beautifully crisp as the rest.
Yeah, and I think you also like that's where it's connected to the patio going in and out and stuff like that. But the inside, I loved it. I gave it a 9. The food, I got the Pickford burger, which was Wagyu beef, truffle black garlic butter, Gruyere. So I told you I screwed up. Cheese.
Tons of countries. You can just say I'm pronouncing this in another.
Watercress greens and Cabernet vinaigrette. This was a lovely burger. Simply lovely. And it had great flavor. The bun. It was also had nice flavor to the bun as well. And I had mine cooked to well done. Which recently I've been changing from, like I used to get all my burgers medium rare, but they've been coming out like way greasy, and like the poor quality buns have been coming out like super soaked in oil or grease or whatever, and I just wasn't enjoying my burgers because I think mostly because of poor buns. So and then I also, because with ground beef, you don't know, we're all like, it's not coming all from one cow either. So I've started to get kind of like weirded out by some things like that. So now I always get my hamburgers well done. But in any case, the way they did this, the seasoning on the burger with all the ingredients and the bun that they had, it was simply lovely.
Such a good burger.
It is such a great burger. So the food, I did give it a 9. Service, like you, I thought he did great up front, but at the end, because there was no one else like there helping him out in the bar area, because I think once they start getting enough people there, he has to almost be a dedicated bartender. You need someone actually to run like the bar area, and so therefore I gave the service an 8. Value, I gave it an 8 as well. For the price that we pay for what we got, I think the value actually it should be like higher. But the reason why I dropped it down a point is because I really didn't spend enough time studying the rest of the menu to really consider some of the other factors of like what they serve, like with the flights and stuff like that, and to determine whether or not I felt like it was a higher value than that. But as far as like how they made you feel, the interior, all other factors aside, minus the pricing point, I thought the value was super high. Is it destination? I'm going to start off right away. Is it destination point? Yes, it's a destination place. It like for now, until they fuck up, it's a destination spot. Would I take a date there? Yes, definitely would take a date there. Would I meet a friend there? Yes, I would meet a friend there. But usually, like most of my friends, other than Jesse, usually like are kind of into sports and stuff. So I probably would go down the street to sports book. But yeah, I would meet a friend there.
Smarter challenges.
This week's Smarter Challenges one is fun, and this one was surprisingly unexpected because I had heard some mixed reviews, but this is for Wednesday, the TV series, Season 2. So if you can remember the premise of the first season, Wednesday Addams expelled from school because some boy was not cool to her brother, so she releases a bunch of piranhas into a pool when he's swimming, and it doesn't go well for the boy. So she ends up in a new school and has to make new friends, and as something unexpected, she does make some new friends, including one great one, and ultimately creates a lot of great experiences that most probably would not expect. I didn't expect. I thought the first season was great, so because of that, I was a little worried about how season 2 would turn out. Turns out her and Enid, not Enid, Enid, she and Enid continue this really solid, selfless, and growing, maturing relationship that I fell in love with because of the fact that it's real. You either continue to grow and share as friends, or sometimes you do change and distance, and both can happen, I suppose. But at the end of the day, Wednesday is an American supernatural mystery comedy television series based on Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. Before we get going, anything you wanted to bring up about anything history-wise that I may have absolutely failed?
No, you did fine.
All right.
Let's jump into it.
Well, as we jump into it, some of the cast and characters, we're going to go in there. Jenna Ortega plays Wednesday,
so
one
beautiful.
one of the main actresses. Gwendolyn Christie plays Larissa Weems. So she was also in season 1. She's a shape-shifting principal that returns ultimately kind of as a shape-shifting ghost in season 2. I'm going to jump down. We already know Catherine Zeta-Jones is the mother, and Emma Myers plays Enid Sinclair.
Super beautiful in there too.
Dude, yeah. Enid is Wednesday's werewolf roommate. As we get started, I guess that's the big point. Character-wise, if you had one or two characters you would shout out as being absolutely the dynamic characters, and I think we have to give a shout out to the brother as well. But what one or two characters would you recognize as the true pulse behind this show?
Oh, behind this show, it's really a trio, friends, and kind of like a coming of age and developing like your friendship, right? Like obviously in season 1, Enid and Wednesday, Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers, they had a strong bond as roommates, and they were kind of used to each other's quirks, if you will. Then because of the feats or tribulations or whatever you want to call it from season 1, they both have, if you will, a fan club. Some like Enid, some like Wednesday, but the one that we really get introduced to is Wednesday's I guess stalker / super fan, which is, I forget what her name. Her name is Agnes DeMille, played by Evie Templeton.
She does an amazing job too.
And here's the thing: is like she's like almost kind of like that annoying younger sibling that follows you around and wants to be with you and your friend and tries to like intervene and interrupt and stuff like that. And she's really just like, really what it comes down to is Agnes is really trying to find her place at Nevermore. And she originally designs it to be strictly as basically almost like a volunteer slave to Wednesday. But then after the role switch between Enid and Wednesday, it kind of woke up Agnes. And that, I think from that point, you started to see the friendship develop between the three of them.
Yes.
Because Agnes and Enid, after that role reversal where Enid became Wednesday and Wednesday became Enid, after that had ripples or repercussions that followed down the line. And one of those repercussions was that Agnes and Enid became better friends too, and it developed their trio of friendship, which I thought was great, and it showed a very great growth of character arc from all three. I think you see the biggest character arc growth with probably Agnes, the second most with Enid. I think Wednesday showed the least amount of growth. I mean, she does grow, but I don't think her growth was as great, even though she's the protagonist of the show.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much about growth all the time. And at the end of the day, Enid to me also was the same Enid. She was great to her friends and she was loyal and she saved the damn day. And it brings an interesting perspective to me because I'm a vampire lover. I'm not usually the werewolf guy. But here, this female werewolf is literally the one that is willing to risk everything, not once, but now twice in season 2 for her friend. And it's endearing. It's touching. And as we end the season, we get to see, oh yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, by the time it gets out, it probably won't be a spoiler at that point. And if you didn't see it by the time it comes out, it's on you.
But at the end, Wednesday is going after Enid, who changed in a moon to save Wednesday's life and made a change during a special moon where now she might be stuck as a wolf. But Wednesday is going after her. And that is that other piece of friends and caring and connection. Loyalty, code, having a goddamn
yeah, definitely code.
I think one of the things I love about this show is all three of the women that are mentioned, Agnes, Enid, and Wednesday. They all have a code, and much like you and I, they have very strong codes. They're not the same code. They're very strong, and I love that. I respect that. It's endearing.
It is.
All right. Any favorite scenes? Or just something that like strikes your memory. And I know you mentioned one to me yesterday.
Yeah, so I guess the one that first comes off to the top of my head that strikes me is in season 1, Wednesday mentions that she's allergic to color. And when we have the character swap where Enid goes into Wednesday and Wednesday goes into Enid, and Enid's a little bit peeved at Wednesday because of being put on the sideline type of
a lot of it peeved.
Any case, she ends up getting this super bright, colorful coffee drink and breaks out in hives, and then Enid's like, wow, you really are allergic to color. I just thought that was funny. And then because they were still kind of in this quasi fight between each other, she goes on and goes out and becomes super outgoing, and that becomes a total her normal self as an extrovert in Wednesday Addams' body, wearing color, knowing that her body is allergic to color. And I just thought it was kind of funny, that whole part there. And I also, on the flip side, though, the way Emma Myers played Wednesday when they did that body swap, I thought both actresses, Jenna Ortega did a great job imitating what Enid would be like as her. Likewise, I thought Emma Myers did a great job of imitating what Wednesday would be like. And so I thought both actresses did a great job in that episode.
I agree. I think one of the scenes that definitely sticks with me is when we find out Gomez at one point did have special talents, if you will, and they were stripped from him by a mad scientist who abused him. I thought that was really good. And then the interesting conundrum with Pugsley, possibly, as we don't know yet, might in season 3, losing those same powers as well.
So this brings up a question here, right? Because Gomez Addams thought the mad scientist guy, they were roommates, and they're supposedly best friends. But yet, he was willing to go because of his code. He's willing to do anything to help out his friend. And his friend, I'm not saying he doesn't have a code, but whatever his code was or whatever his thoughts were, was willing to kill someone that was a loyal friend to save his sister, which I thought was kind of incestual.
Yeah, I don't know about that. If you love your sister, but the problem is his sister was a nightmare, literally. But beyond that, with that piece, here's the question. They're talking about we want to make this school Nevermore, so to speak,
for outcasts.
For outcasts only who have actual talents, powers. It can be a vampire, can be a werewolf, can have electricity, whatever. You break that down, and Gomez's roommate would have been the only one in the show that at this point did not have anything besides he was super smart.
Well, they said he's a Da Vinci, so he could create machines and stuff.
Right, that's super smart. That's not.
Well, no, because remember the Da Vinci kids.
Yeah,
they're with using their mind. They're able to build the machines and stuff. So they can, I guess it's like they're kind of telepathic because they can use their mind to build the machinery.
So to move matter.
Yeah. I mean, it was just more than like the Da Vinci kids. The way I got it was like they're super smart and they can use their minds to help build whatever.
Okay, so if you're considering that, yes, but otherwise, like Da Vinci didn't have that power. He just built it with his damn hands. He's super smart.
Yeah, because remember, like when they were building that bonfire,
they were just like moving it with their.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, I forgot about that part until you said that. But otherwise, that guy was not impressive, except that fuck yeah.
But I think the whole reason why I brought it up though, I think you just like you have to have a code, but you also have to be cautious of who you allow into your inner circle. Because they can definitely manipulate and betray your trust or manipulate your code. Now, when I say manipulate your code, you yourself, you are staying true to your code. They're just going to manipulate you to move you with how you would work within your code.
Yeah, no,
and that's wrong.
I agree. It's no different than all the sayings you and I have both heard since we were kids 300 plus years ago. You are the company you keep. And that is a truth. It's one of the reasons why I hang out with certain people in life and I don't hang out with others. It's why I am drawn to certain people at work and I am pushed away by others. It's not so much that they don't want my time. It's that I don't want to be in their energy vampire presence. All right, that was really the basis I had. Lots of fun. The key point I will take away, and I would ask anyone who is along our train of thought, really be aware of Enid's, Agnes's, and Wednesday's codes, who they are as great individuals. Any of us have skills. We're smart, we're strong, we're dedicated, we're loyal. And how they use those qualities in life. And it's actually a beautiful thing. It's trying, it's testing. It's hard at times to understand these two friends who had a great year together and are so similar in some ways, but so different in others, but beautiful people, loyal. Even though they're still so young in the show, supposedly. They're much older in real life. Which good for you, all of you young ladies, for aging well already. But with that piece, like, it's beautiful to see. And I think one of the reasons I was drawn to this is as I'm watching the show, I think about my own son, my own daughter, my friends when I was that age, and not always realizing, but thinking back, like you and I in high school. Man, we were loyal to each other. We were just exactly that. And we were absolutely a pain in each other's asses sometimes. But we, at the end of the day, the code we have now is the same code we had then. And I love that. I love people who have a code and stick to it and grow and accept, but also realize life happens and move on.
So I'll first, since we're doing this is basically our closing on it. All right. First off, loved season 1. Not too often do I like the second season of a television series, and like you, I saw magnitude of things on social media that really actually said like season 2 was terrible. In my personal opinion, I enjoyed season 2 more than season 1.
Agreed.
Season 1 was great. It was a great catcher. That's what it needed to be to capture its audience. Season 2 to me was more developed, and I love the characters in season 2. I love the way the storyline developed there, and I really just enjoyed it so much more. The one character, and this is weird because like I love Steve Buscemi as an actor. I think usually he does a great job in most of his characters and movies and stuff like that. But in this particular TV series, and he does his job well. He does his character well, but his character, I really didn't like his character. His character came off as a sleazy car salesman. used car salesman that you would not trust at all, right? And he plays that position pretty well. But yet, I think he still had a genuine, even though he was manipulative and he deceived people, there was still a part of him where he wanted the school to succeed. But I think he went about it the wrong way, and he was going to go about it the wrong way, was stealing all that money from Wednesday Addams' grandmother. I think some of it probably would have been funneled to the school to keep it open, but I think he was going to take the mass majority of it. But it was like I said, I think that storyline right there, the storyline between the three girls, the overall like arc of the show was good. It was really entertaining from episode 1, I think, to episode 8. The one thing I would have a complaint about with Netflix is I hate when they do those mid-seasons where they only drop 4 and then they drop the other 4. Either just like put it out once every week or just drop it all at once. Don't do this like we're going to drop 4, wait 3 months and drop, or 2 months or whatever it was, and drop the other 4. Like, that's my biggest complaint about the show. And it's not even the show's fault. That's Netflix's fault. But there you go. Those are my kind of final thoughts.
I love that you brought up Steve Buscemi because he plays
I'd say he's kind of like a grifter.
He's a pyrokinetic. That's his skill. He can like cause things to start fire within a reasonable distance. But he's absolutely abusive. I think the one reason that he was so easy to dislike in this role is because he was weak. He not only played an evil person, he played a weak person. And I'm going to use the example of Con Air as the opposite. In Con Air, he absolutely plays an evil person. They're treating him like he's from Silence of the Lambs. He's Hannibal Lecter, but he's strong, he's powerful, and he has an opportunity, but he still has a code where he doesn't hurt kids. He's literally playing dolls with kids, but it's the adults that are shit that he has no problem killing. And in here,
that's a great example from Con Air. That was a good movie.
Yeah, dude, it's phenomenal. He's an evil person, but he's not. The evil like has boundaries. He still has a code, but more importantly, he's powerful. Everyone else that is afraid of him in this movie, he just was weak. He was evil, but he was weak. And this is not to take anything away. He literally played his character perfectly, and I think that that's what they wanted. Whereas in other roles, not just Con Air, he plays the evil person in many, the bad guy in many roles, but he's strong, he's powerful, you don't question it. And in this one's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, so that's I don't know, that's any other final thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I enjoyed season 2 more than season 1, not because of the introduction, not that it wasn't as much of a story, and we've only peeled one layer out of the 100 of this onion for season 2. It's fun, but it's also for the mature. It's for the psychologically mature who are willing to look at friendships and be invested in something other than just some adventure with monsters.
I agree with you. All right. Whoops, sorry. I had myself on mute. So I agree with you. If you guys couldn't hear me before, hopefully you can hear me now. I don't think I was on mute the whole time. I think I just put my mute on when I coughed, but in any case, if there's nothing more, I guess next week's challenge. All right. The world is a messed up, screwy place right now. People elected people who go 100% against our Constitution. We got all kinds of craziness, right? So, based off the meme I sent you earlier, I think this week about, so like, if you're talking about politics and what's going on in the world today, here's beer and boobs. We're not technically going to go down the whole beer and boobs type of line, but we are going to go down the whole line of doing a distraction from what's going on in the world today to keep it light and fun still. So we'll do a review of Hulu's season 1 of Chad Powers. This is based upon Elon Manning. So Elon Manning of the New York Giants, after he retired, wanted to know what it was like to be a walk-on. So he went to Penn State and brought a Hollywood team with him and talked to the head coach there at Penn State and was asking about the whole walk-on process. And he ended up having them do makeup and do prosthesis over on his face and stuff like that.
Make him less noticeable.
Yeah. And so he went in as a guy named Chad Powers. So it was just like a 30-minute thing on ESPN about what it's like to be a walk-on and stuff like that. But then they made it into a TV series on Hulu with the guy from Top Gun that's going to be in the new Running Man movie, Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, yeah.
So Glenn Powell plays the character Chad Powers on Hulu. And he goes to, he was this ultimate star playing in the national championship for Oregon as a star quarterback. Drops the ball at the 1 yard line. The other team picks up the ball, runs it back for a touchdown. Oregon loses the national championship. He's in such disarray that they're his favorite, supposedly his favorite fan, who's this crippled kid, is on the sidelines and is next to Chad Powers as the other team scores that winning touchdown. And the kid's like, "You're still my number one player," and he just goes off on the kid and the parent and ruins his life. So he's not no one drafted him. He's he's not playing football, and he's basically a total loser. And then he gets this idea as his dad works in the Hollywood industry. And he gets this idea to go use his dad's prosthetics to go play at this top tier school as a walk-on quarterback. So it's only 6 episodes, 35 minutes long each. So it's not a heavy lift. So I think it'll be a fun one. So that we'll just keep it light and fun still. So yeah, that's our challenge. So if you made this far, as I keep talking here and doing a word vomit, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate all of you. We appreciate all the viewers, all the listeners, whether it be on YouTube, Rumble, or on one of the many podcast platforms. Thank you very much for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments down below because we'd love to hear what your thoughts are about. Oh, my camera is out.
My memory card ran out, but you can finish. We're there.
Did it just run out?
I don't know when it ran out. It was within the last 15 minutes.
Whatever. It's okay. Yeah, well, with that, just please like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments down below.
All right, remember, life is great. That does not mean it's going to be easy. In fact, the more difficult times often are the learning times that make the rest of life that much better. Do not drink and drive. Please drink responsibly. And I think the wiser and older anyone gets, whether that's a 10-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 130-year-old, 350-year-old, you realize that's not smart. Please do not drink or drive. And until next week.
Oh.
Until next week. Scotchman.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a patron member with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.